Hello Stick Mobility family, it's Kelly Manzone. I'm filling in for Jessie today. So we're a little bit later, we're starting at 1:30 instead of 1 o'clock. For today's class, we are gonna need your short stick and one long stick. So short stick would be the 4 or 5 footer and the long stick, the 6 or 7 foot. And if you don't own stick mobility, you could use a PVC pipe, wooden dowel, whatever you have access to. For the theme of this month, we're still addressing the upper body spiral lines and rotation. And for today's class, we're going to need access to a side wall for leverage and an overhead beam or ceiling. We're going to be doing some half kneeling positions and at the end of class, a QL stretch. So if you would like, you could have a towel or a pillow nearby to use later on. We're going to start today's class by warming up our feet, so from the ground up. I'm going to go into our horse stance, so your stance is a little bit wider than hip width. You're going to soften into the knees and scoop your tailbone under. We're going to take the left hand on top, bottom of the stick facing in towards you. So I mention this every class, the camera flips me, so I'm going to do my best to mirror one another. So even though this is my left side, or my right side, excuse me, I'm going to call it my left side. So left hand on top, angle the stick inward towards you, pack those shoulders, go into your horse stance. We're going to begin by lifting the heel of our left foot. Really spread out the toes as we work into the fascia into our feet, prepping our foot ankle complex for class. Let's do 2 more here on the left side. Good. Now switch over to the right. Now, if you can, during class, try to be barefoot so you could really feel that connection to the ground, or at least wear a minimalist shoe. Let's do 2 more here on our right side. Again, in that horse stance. Now, switching over to the left, we're going to simply roll that left ankle out and then inward from the ankle, right? So the heel is going to go outward a little bit and then inward. The movement begins with the foot and not with the knee or the hip. Outward 1 more time and then inward. Slowly lower your left heel. Let's transition to our right side. Roll out onto that pinky toe laterally and then inward pressure towards that pinky toe. Again, outward and inward. Scan your body, right? So we're going to make sure that the movement, again, is coming from the foot and ankle, not compensating with the knee or the hip. Let's do 1 more here. Outward once again, lower. Now, complete circle outward on the left side, just for a few, and then inward. I love these foot-ankle combinations, right? They're our first line of contact with our movement. And then outward again on the other side. Still in that horse stance, still breathing, shoulders down away from your ears. And now transition inward. And in a moment, we're going to stretch the top of the foot into the tibia. I love this next stretch. And gently release. Take a moment, shake out. I'm going to go a little bit on a diagonal here. This is my front left leg, right foot, top of the right foot down. Take a second, scoop your tailbone under. You should feel like you're creating space in the top of that ankle. Hold for a moment, proud chest. Breathe. Gently release, come out of it, shake it out. 1 more time, top of the right foot down. Take a moment, hand to the hip line, soften into the inside left knee. Just a little bit of pressure down into the floor. And if you'd like, you could create a little bit of movement, a little wiggle. And realign and release. So now the right foot is forward, left leg is back, top of the foot down. Take that tailbone under, soften into your right knee, proud chest. Just use that stick nearby here for a little bit of stability. Hold, come out of it, take a moment, shake it out. We'll do 1 more on this side. You could add in a little bit of movement here as you're pressing down into the top of the foot. Proud chest and breathing. Pause. And then take a moment, gently release. Now we're going to take our short stick behind our back to the mid-spine, right into the T-spine. Take a moment, roll those shoulders down, place your palms on your belly. Now instead of your shoulders hiking up, shoulders are down away from the ears, and we're in our horse stance going for a few neck nods. So we're gonna drop the chin to the chest, eyes lead the head, never working into pain, and then slowly look upward towards the ceiling. Now if you see from the side, I take that anterior tilt out, which I do have in quite an extensive anterior tilt from my gymnastics, dance, and swimming days, so I'm very cognizant of it. And now we're going to realign here, look to your left, up and over to your right. Again, to your left, nice and slow, up and over to your right. Let's do one more on each side. Now some classes I go into the whole neck series, but today we're just going to do these two variations, and now we're going to rotate our palms up. Get a little feedback, pressing your T-spine back into the stick, and what we're going to do is pivot on the ball of our left foot, grip the ground with that right foot, rotate, since rotation is in our workout today, look over that right shoulder, and now slowly come through center. You're back into your horse stance. Weight that left leg, drive down through the foot, squeeze that right glute, rotate, eyes leading the head. You're only going to go as far as you can comfortably, and then pass through center again. Looking behind, rib cage in, proud chest, through center, drive down through that left foot, rotate, follow all the way through, and then come back through center. Gently release, take a moment to shake out your legs and arms. We're going to go into a few shoulder dislocates. So this is obviously a class where we're focusing on the upper body, so we got to mobilize our shoulder girdle first. Taking your short stick, I'm going to go on a side profile here in the horse stance. So oftentimes people could compensate by taking their fingers off the stick or quickly throwing the arms back. But we really want to work into the fascia and work into the joint. So we're going to take our time. You're holding the stick wide, soften into the knees, pull apart. So you're going to activate your posterior line. Keeping the chin neutral and the rib cage closed, we're going to slowly pull apart on the stick as we elevate. You only go back to what is comfortable for you. And compensation pattern, you want to be mindful that you're not dropping the chin towards your chest or shrugging the shoulders up. Now, as your stick comes forward over the top of the forehead, you're then going to crush the stick, and gently lower. Pull apart, eyes forward, right? You're mindful of your alignment. Everybody is different, so again, you only go back to where you can. Push into the stick as you lower. Let's do 3 more. Pull apart, shoulders packed, chin neutral, and you'll notice, depending on if you have any issues or not, you're going to be able to go a little bit further into the stretch each time comfortably. Up and back. Breathe. Again, mindful of alignment, keeping the shoulders down. Push into the stick. Let's do 1 more. Pull apart. Activate that posterior line. Eyes forward. And then slowly, keeping the shoulders down, crush the stick, and gently lower. We're going to go into some kayaking. We're going to kayak today in the same stance that we did on Tuesday. I'm going to take my right leg forward, left leg back into a gentle staggered lunge. So this is going to add a little bit of an instability challenge. If you would like, if it's too unstable, you could widen your stance. Taking the stick, we're going to park it onto the right hip. We're going to push into the stick. So both hands are kind of crushing the stick from the outside. If you have a longer stick, you would do the same, even if your hands aren't on the outside. And start to kayak downstream. In a moment, I'm going to add a little bit of rotation through the upper body. But as you can see right now, both my hips are continuing to face forward. So we're going forward, back, up, and around. One of my personal favorite stick mobility drills. Now, adding a little bit of rotation, you're going to follow the direction of the stick. So driving through that front right foot, driving through the ball of that back foot, staying connected, working into a little bit of rotation here as we're warming up our upper body. Park it back onto the right hip. Take a moment, step forward, and shake it out. Now our left leg is going to be forward, right leg is back. Take a moment, instead of kind of throwing the hips back, scoop that tailbone under. Your trunk of the body is firing, it's on. So stick now, parked onto that left hip. Find your focal point for balance and begin to kayak forward. So this forward leg is my less dominant leg, and I can already feel a little bit more instability. This is also why I really like stick mobility drills for the foot ankle complex and also training barefoot. It really allows you to kind of work on your weaknesses. So let's do 4 more here before we add rotation through the upper body. 1 more. And now start to follow it through. Now, the more I push into the stick, because as I was talking, I wasn't driving into the stick as much as I could have been. And it's amazing how doing that action really does create a little bit more stability in our bodies. Let's go 4 more here. 1, 2, 3, and on 4, step forward, shake it out. Going into your horse stance, we're just going to reverse our kayak for a moment. So it's parked on your right hip, and you're going to simply go up and back to your left, down, and then forward, up, and back on the other side. So I'm just going to go on profile here, or a little bit on a diagonal, I should say, because sometimes people get a little bit caught up on this one. So essentially, it's just the opposite of what we just did. Up, back, and down. Breathe. Let's go for 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well done. We're going to temporarily place our short stick to the ground. Grab your long stick, and we're going to go into a bow and arrow before we go into half kneeling. Your stance is a little bit wider than hip width. Stick to the outside of your right foot. Your left hand, palm is facing forward, bottom right hand right on that sticker. Oftentimes, people press out with the arms first, but we really want to maximize the connection to the hip and opening up those lateral fascial lines. So we're going to press out first with our hips. Hips out first, upper body second. Gripping the ground with the feet, taking the tailbone under. And I'm driving into the stick with about 30% tension, and I can really feel that connection down into the left hip. Working into some flossing. As we drive down into the stick, you're going to keep your chin and your chest and your hips still. Just the arms move. Forward onto the sagittal plane, and then outward onto that frontal plane. Again, forward onto the sagittal plane, and floss outward onto that frontal plane. So it's a little similar of an action with that upper body with our shoulder dislocates, but slightly different. Hold here and slowly come out of your bow and arrow. We're going to go up and over to the other side. So stick is to our left, right hand palm facing down, hands right near, or bottom hand near the sticker. Pressing out with the hips first, gripping the ground with your feet, and then pressing out with the upper body, tailbone under. Pause here for a moment, and as we floss, again, you're nice and stable through the entire body except for the arms. So we're going back out onto that frontal plane, forward, sagittal. Let's do 1 more here, and then we're going to take it into that half kneeling. Hold for a moment, look upward towards the ceiling, and then slowly come out of your bow and arrow. So if you have any knee issues and you feel comfortable using a pillow or a towel, grab that now. We're going to take our stick to the swell of our lower mid back. I'm going to step forward with my left foot, taking the right knee down to the floor. I prefer having the top of the foot down. You could always anchor with the ball of the foot if you're more comfortable with that. So you could dorsiflex or plantar flex, whatever's comfortable for you. From here, I'm gonna have a little bit more length of the stick on my left side, and we're gonna crush and push into the stick. As we do so, we're gonna start to rotate the torso, and that right side is gonna come down to the floor, close to that left foot, and then I want you to open the chest towards the inside of your left thigh. Hold here, and slowly come out of it. Now in this next one, I'm gonna anchor with the ball of the foot, so you could play with both variations with that back foot. Crush the stick, shoulders down away from your ears. Start to rotate, and as you rotate, begin a gentle hinge. That right hand comes across, angle, look upward on a diagonal, and then drive through that left foot, connect through center, slowly come out of it. Let's do one more on this side. Crush the stick. Begin that rotation, proud chest, start to hinge, right side down towards the left. Hold here 4 counts. Hold 1, hold 2, hold 3, and on 4, we slowly come out of it. So when we're on the other side, I want you to be aware of what's happening with that front knee. We want to keep that in alignment, so you should feel that nice connection with the trunk of the body. So now we're changing, right leg is forward, crush the stick, left knee down. Your choice with the position of your back foot. I'll just do this time on a little bit of a diagonal here. Crush the stick, scoop that tailbone under, proud chest. Start to hinge, left going over towards the right. Hold for a moment as it hooks to the floor. And then keeping the tension in the stick, slowly come out of it. Facing you head on now. Squeeze once again. Rotate, hinge, left side coming over towards the right. Angle, look back on a diagonal. So you're gonna try to eye the top of the stick behind you and gently come out of it. On this last one, I'm gonna anchor with the ball of my back foot for a little variety. Take that tailbone, scoop it under, crush the stick, begin to hinge. Open chest, shoulder down away from the ear, that front left arm. Angle, look upward, watch the alignment with that knee, 4 counts, hold 1, 2, 3, on 4, slowly come out of it. Take a moment, release, come to stand, shake your legs out. We're gonna go into a set of Dunphy Squats. So I'm gonna grab a quick sip of water before we start. And we're just gonna use 3 very slow 4 count Dunphy Squats to really fire up our legs before we get into the second portion of our strength work. So you're pressing the stick upward into a beam or the ceiling. And everybody's mobility is different, but the Dunphy Squat, I think, is absolutely brilliant. Your body is going to be your own machine. So I want you to take a moment, find your alignment. Toes are slightly turned out. Eyes are going to be forward towards your stick. Now, we're driving up into the ceiling or beam with about 70% of our strength. And as we pull and descend into the squat, so think of pulling yourself to the earth, maintain that length through your spine and the connection with your alignment with your pelvis. And elbows come in. So we're driving up, breathe, nice and slow. See, shoulders down away from the ears, elbows are in, grip the ground with those feet. Drive up into the stick and slowly come out of your squat. Engage and squeeze the glutes. So we have 2 more, nice and slow. Drive up, pull yourself down into the squat. Nice and controlled. Hold at the bottom. Scan your body. Neck should be nice and relaxed. Grip the ground with your feet. Drive up. Stay connected. Don't lose it. At the top, squeeze your glutes. Realign. Scan your body. One more time. Drive up into the stick, descend nice and slow into your squat. Stay connected, hold here 4 counts, hold 1, 2, 3, and on 4. Drive up, breathe. Excellent, and release. I just want to make sure that I still have internet connection, so I'm just going to scan. I do, perfect. I live in a condo complex, and the other day it was out. Okay, so we are going to get into some lateral movement with some rotation with the upper body. When you're in your lateral position, I want you to think of pulling apart the mat or the ground below you. So our first line of contact is the stabilization of our feet. In our lateral lunge, as we come out of it, and I'm going to demonstrate first, we're going to add rotation through the upper body and some balance work. So, stick is a little bit higher, right around the T-spine, shoulders down away from the ears. I'm going to laterally move towards my right side. Rotate over, crushing the stick. Now, as I come out of this, I'm going to slide that left leg, draw the left knee up, and rotate. Then, coming across, I'm going to laterally shift to the left side. So now you can join me. You know what to expect. Crush that stick, find your focal point. Slide that right leg in. Whoa, don't want to crush the Legos here. I don't know if you could see them in view, but my husband and son have a ton of Legos, and I'm not going to lie, I've knocked them down a few times over the years with my clubs. Come across. Glide, rotate, grip the ground with your right foot, squeeze, proud chest, limp over to your left. Now, lateral lunge to that left. Glide, keep crushing that stick, slide the right foot in. You've got to watch the Hogwarts castle that's being built. Rotate over. We're going to do one more on each side. Shift to your right. Push into that stick, breathe. Tear apart that floor, glide, draw that left knee up, rotate. Sorry about all the beeping out there. I don't know what's happening. Somebody's impatient. Come across, hold, glide, drive up, find that focal point, and rotate. Excellent. One of my favorite stick mobility drills. So it's very basic, but basic can be challenging. There's a lot of complexity in the little nuances. So we're going to go into another rotation drill. Take your stick, same area, upper, mid-back. And what we're going to do is a split stance variation of rotation. So we started off with that knee down lunge variation, and it's basically progressing that one. So I forget if the camera messes when I'm on a diagonal, so I'm just going to say the leg that is in front. I have my left leg forward. I'm going to go into a wide staggered stance, lift the belly, lengthen through the lower back. If you feel unstable here, take that back leg out a little bit wider, widen your base. Crush the stick. Hinge forward over the top of your left thigh. Come across with your left or right arm, I should say, excuse me. Rotate. And then come across with the left arm. Find a focal point. That helps. Now, in this position here, be mindful that you're not sinking that hip out. Try to maintain your position, your alignment. Crush the stick. Find a focal point. Think of that right arm coming across left. Still squeeze, push, reach, lift out of the hip line. What I mean by that is try not to sink onto the top of your left hip, or thigh, I should say. And one more. Come across. Rotate, reach, and then step forward. So we had a nice isometric hold on that left side. I'm going to come this way, right leg forward, left leg back. Lift the belly, length through the spine. Grip the ground with your front foot. Feel anchored with your back foot. Hip hinge forward, crush the stick, shoulders down away from your ears. Left side is coming across over to the right. Feel that oblique sling, that upper body connection. The stability through the feet upward. Come across now, right to left. Keep pushing into the stick, glide. Excellent. Watch what's happening with your hip line. Stay with it. Through center. Now we have one more. Try to hinge a little bit further over. Less of your body weight in that back foot. That's going to increase the challenge. Through center. Good. Hold here. Come forward and release. Shake your legs out. So we're going to come down for a rotational plank. This is where we're going to leverage against our side wall. So grab water if you need it. Just going to grab a quick sip. Some truck driver out there. Honking away. All good though. Okay. This is my left side. So I'm going to perform both of the my left and right side facing head on into the camera. So we have stick leverage to the wall, and you're going to have your left hand at the top of your short stick. You could still do this with the long stick, but you would need to just go further out. Coming into a high plank position. So my right hand is on the floor directly below the shoulder line. And I'm going to walk out my right leg followed by my left into a wide stance plank. From here, right, we're going to gently scoop that tailbone under so we light up the front of the body. Then we're going to pivot, rotate into a high plank, side plank here. And then come back through center. Take a deep breath in, square off. Inhale, exhale, begin to rotate. So you're pivoting on the outside of your right foot and inside of your left foot, and square off through center. We're going to do 3 more. Pivot, push into that wall with that upper body, hold, and then gently square off. We have 2 more here. Begin to pivot, palm right below that shoulder line, push into the wall, engage, come center. Last one. So my stick over here is sliding a little bit on my furniture. I typically have a towel there. Hold, and come through center, square off, gently lower, one knee down at a time. So now we're going to do the same thing with the right side. So take a second, find your position. Remember, you're going to leverage against that side wall, kind of in a bad spot here, but that's okay. So you have your right hand on the floor, left hand on the stick, or the opposite. I know you know what I mean. Okay, here we go. So we're going to pivot and press, breathe, and gently come center. Pause. So we have 4 more. Pivot, push into that wall, drive down into the stick. Now, you should not feel like you're collapsing in on that stabilizing shoulder. So again, I want you to be mindful of your position. If you need to modify, you could always lower that inside knee. Good. We have 2 more. Square off, push into that wall, come center. You have 1 more. Watch your position, rotate, push into that wall, feel that connection, then slowly begin to realign through center, and then lower 1 knee at a time. Perfect. Okay, so we are going to get into our stretching portion of class using a single stick. So we're going to come up to stand first, then we're going to finish on the ground. In the beginning of class, we did a bow and arrow where we were flossing. We're going to change up our bow and arrow and go a little bit on a diagonal back behind us. So our stance, same position, a little bit wider than hip width, Stick is going to be in that right hand, and we're going to place the stick behind us on a diagonal. That bottom right hand is going to find that sticker. Driving down into the floor with the feet, squeeze your glutes. We're going to press our hips forward, top left hand to the stick, and again, looking upward towards the ceiling, but the knees are soft, the hips are pressing forward. You have to engage your glutes so that you're not putting pressure into your lower back. And again, look upward towards the ceiling. So it's a minor little back bend here on a diagonal. And then slowly come out of it. Well done. Now we're going over to our left side. Right hand on top. Leverage the stick to the floor. Press the hips forward first. Upper body second. Again, gripping the ground with your feet. So as we're getting that back extension, you shouldn't feel like you're pressing into your lower back. Think of lifting up and out of it. Hold. And then slowly come out of it. Going back over to the other side, we're going to add on to our bow and arrow simply by crossing our left leg over the right. Squeeze those inner thighs. Grip the ground with your feet. So this one could be sometimes a little bit more challenging. So if you need to, you could widen your stance, or you could uncross and have the feet together for a more stable base. The stick's going to come out a little bit further away from your body than our normal setup, but same thing applies. Pressing out the hips first, and then the upper body second. So this goes deeper into those lateral lines. Holding here. I feel like, for tapping into our upper body spiral lines, it's really important to work those lateral lines in the oblique slings because everything is connected. So I often find that, I call it sticky rib syndrome. So once we're able to kind of get into this, then the shoulders and upper body loosen up quite a bit and we can tap into our potential. So grip the ground. Watch the alignment with your hips. Stick to the outside, a little bit further out. Hips first, upper body second. Hold, tailbone again, tucked under. Leverage those feet if you're crossed over. 4 counts are still. Hold 1, 2, 3, and on 4, gently release. Taking our stance, hip width apart, slightly wider. You're going to take the stick right in front of you, angle the bottom of the stick in towards you. Left hand is going to be on top, and we're simply going to cross our arms over to our right. Much like a kettlebell swing, with your kettlebell you're going to have the triangle position. Same thing applies. So I want you to think of your chin going far over that bicep of that left arm, hip hinging. So the knees are unlocked, length through the spine, eyes down on a diagonal, and the crown, the head, is going to be the tip of that triangle. Hold here for a moment. Now we're going to add on this left shoulder. Dip that left shoulder down towards your ear. Towards the floor. I apologize. Towards the floor. And then do a little bit of a neck articulation, looking to each side. Push into the floor, slowly come up, transition. Now you have your right hand on top. Take it across. Think of length. Hip hinge, forward. Pause first. So you might need to slide that top arm down just a little bit. Drive down into the floor, and then dip that right shoulder down towards the right foot and hold. As you're doing this, you're going to move your head and you're going to feel that right behind the shoulder blade. Excellent. Take a moment, come through center, shake it out. Going into snake reach. So snake reach again is going to work in a little bit of rotation. So we have our right leg forward, left knee down. Stick to the inside of the right thigh. Take your back foot, go top of the knee down, and windshield wiper that back foot for stability. that left hand is going to come up with the thumb facing down. If you have like a lot of restriction with your upper body, a modification, you could bend that elbow, have the wrist and forearm in line with that elbow. If you want more length, longer arm. Take your right arm out to your side. You're going to have a gap between your shirt and the stick, and we're simply going to slide the stick behind the shoulder. That bottom hand reaches for the stick, and then we're going to rotate, look over that right shoulder. Breathe and hold. So we're getting all through that upper body spiral line. Breathe, drive down into the stick, open into that open hip, take a breath, then inhale, exhale, rotate back into our stretch and hold here. Release, gently come out of it, slide it out, roll out through those shoulders. Transitioning to the other side. Now we're going to windshield wiper that back knee, or back foot, I should say. Stick to the inside of the left thigh, right arm up. Remember to modify if needed, left arm out to the side. Slide, and then begin to rotate. Hold, so that inside shoulder is nice and relaxed. And for me, it always feels different on this side versus my other side. Slowly come out of it. Again, find that position that works best for you. Pause here. We're going to hold 4 counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4. Slowly come out of it and gently release. So I have a whiteboard in front of me where I plan out the entire class ahead of time, and I accidentally missed a standing rotational press. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to add that in right now before we finish on the ground with our last stretch. So we're going to go into the rotational overhead press, similar to the warm-up that we did earlier in class. So you could still use your long stick. We're going to go a little bit wider than hip width, and I want you to crush that stick. So push in. You should feel your pecs light up from the body. Now we're going to grip the floor with that right foot. As we pivot, keep crushing the stick, reach up overhead. Now, pause here, pull apart on the stick, chin stays neutral, start to lower, get into those lats as you square off through center. Your left foot is going to grip the ground, start to crush that stick, rotate simultaneously. You are pressing up overhead, chin neutral, pause. Pull apart, activate those back muscles, pull apart, come through center. Let's do 2 more on each side. Crush the stick, start to rotate, press up overhead, breathe, pull apart, work the back as you come through center, crush, press, squeeze that right glute, chin neutral, pull apart, come through center. 1 more on each side. Crush, push, press up overhead, breathe, pull apart, squeeze. Get right into that back. Crush, rotate, press, keep squeezing, pull apart, and come through center. Great. That felt wonderful. Okay. We're going to finish today's class with the QL stretch. I don't know why. People love it. I get DMs about it, so I'm adding it into today's class. If you need a pillow or towel to sit on, please do so now. And our right leg is going to be long. That left knee is bent, left foot to the inside of the thigh. So the stick is behind you. And we are going to take the stick, leverage it to the inside arch of the foot. Now there's a couple of options here. I like, instead of having that top left arm fully extended, I like to soften that elbow, kind of corkscrew the forearm around the stick, and drop that shoulder. This right hand could come across to provide a little bit of leverage, and you could kind of play around. Depends on your mobility and flexibility. So right hand, angle, look upward towards the ceiling. So my back is kind of pushing into the stick. So oftentimes, right, this is why I did those bow and arrow variations, and I talked about like sticky rib syndrome and tight hips. So sometimes the knee is up here. We want that knee down. Think of creating space. And hold, breathe, keep pressing back, angle down towards your right side. 4 counts, you're still. Hold 1, 2, 3, and on 4, we slowly come out of the stretch. Take a moment, shake out, roll out that shoulder, transitioning to the other side. So the left leg is long, right foot to the inside of the thigh, hook, find your position. Again, I like that kind of option. This really feels good for taking that shoulder back, getting a little bit of front line work, and then left hand is going to come across. I'm leaning back, breathing into the waist. Use that hand for a little bit of added weight. Look upward towards the ceiling. Hold here. Stay with it. Inhale and exhale. Let's hold 4 more counts. Hold 1, 2, 3. On 4, gently come out of your stretch. Love that one. So we're finishing with what we did in Tuesday's class, because I taught on Tuesday. We're going to go onto our right forearm, and we're just going to do a quick T-spine opener to finish class. So you're on your right side, right leg is extended, that left leg is going to fold over. You're going to take your stick to the top of your right foot. Flex that foot. You're going to come down. You could use your pillow or towel for your head. Since I'm talking to the camera, I'm going to keep my head elevated, but typically I kind of keep my head on the ground. So I'm pushing with the foot up into the stick, pushing down with that upper body, and now I want you to take this left arm. Big sweep. Up and back. Follow it through. Oh my goodness, I just got a big release in my spine. Your eyes are going to look over towards your left hand. Hold and breathe. Stay with it. Keep flexing that foot. Keep pushing down with that hand into the stick. And then you're simply going to reverse the way you came. Eyes lead the head. Let's do one more here. Big sweep of that left arm. Follow it through. Rest into it wherever you are. Stay here. Keep pushing down with that hand. Keep pushing up with the foot. 4 counts, you're still. Hold 1, 2, 3. Now on 4, reverse it. Take a moment, roll onto your side. Release the stick. Use that left hand. Press up. And we're going over to our other side. Okay, so right leg comes across on top, knee bent in line with the hip. Leverage the stick. And I'm going to slide down so I have room for my upper body. I apologize. Okay, we're good. Crush the stick. Take that right hand on top. Big sweep. Reach, reach. And then when you can, hold the stretch. So the good thing about this stick mobility step, it's going to leverage that top hip down. And again, we're getting into our spiral lines. A little bit of rotation here. Slowly come out of it. One more. Deep breath in. Stay connected on the stick. Start to sweep that arm back. Hold for a moment. Keep connected. Push. Drive down into the stick. Hold. And then gently work your way out of the stretch. Nice work. Release. Use your hands. Come on up. Thank you. That was today's stick mobility class. Again, I'm Kelly Manzone and I filled in for Jessie today. For the month of February, I'm teaching on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm always open to all feedback, so please feel free to reach out at KelsBells88 on Instagram. And later today, this class will be uploaded to YouTube. Make sure to check out the YouTube channel. It's got a slew of tutorials and episodes of the Movement Made Better podcast, which you can also catch on Spotify and Apple. I will see you next Tuesday. Take care.